Hello, this is Mayor Cashenna A. Cross from the city of Glenarden. I'm recording this State of Glenarden address as we sit in the Municipal Center under the Nutritional Center. I will start this off with an opening prayer, which is Romans 1:20. For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, this eternal power, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuses. Today, I express my appreciation to the citizens of Glenarden for electing me to this position and representing the driving force of the city of Glenarden and at the executive level. During the State of Glenarden address today, I will highlight that while there were parameters put out, as you see, this is not being forecasted live as it should be. What I will acknowledge, though, is during this State of Glenarden address, I believe that we should pursue over the next year, beyond what has occurred over this year, a fresh approach to government, a government approach that addresses the realities of present life and the evolving Prince George's County. Regional development is at the borders of the city of Glenarden, and we see that our Prince George's County Regional Shopping Center at Woodmore Town Center, Glenarden, one of the largest open-air shopping centers in the DC region, has been sold to New York-based property, Urban Edge Properties. That sale actually occurred closer to the end of last year into this year, and it was at $193.4 million. The Wegmans is and remains the anchor shopping center covering 83 acres in Glenarden. We do have a new city manager, and we welcome our new city manager, which is Miss Beverly Herbata. She hails from Capitol Heights. We have economic affairs as the first topic that I would like to address, and we are looking at financial peace. As we're working with the city council and the legislative arm of the city, the county, and the state, we are striving to make this coming fiscal year budget supporting the needs where places are visible and change on the ground that you deserve to see your tax dollars actually working harder for you. On January the 24th, we started this tax season with stimulus checks and child tax credit refunds, and we were expected to put a squeeze on the tax returns, but families have prepared and they were ready. We are able to utilize the American Rescue Plan money this year to support those families. Legislations have been put out for those families that are in need for rental housing assistance. And also there has been legislation put out for families that are at risk. It is the provision of the financials approved that we do purchase certain things like snowplow attachments or a cleanup truck, a sweeping truck. The driving force behind the success of the city will be part of the solid financial plan. So we do encourage everyone to come out for these financial plan meetings and have your say. We are looking, and we must reject the mistaken notion that there's been too much dominated press, if you will, on every problem. The citizens, you have a voice, a lasting voice in this community with all elected leaders. Through the increase of surveys and data gathering in multiple forms in which your feedback is actually being requested, the state of Glenarden rests solely on you, mobilizing your voice at this time. We looked at the U.S. Treasury and the final rule implementing the COVID coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds program. This is also under the American Rescue Plan. Under that American Rescue Plan, the final rule, which takes effect, has proven and provided that state and local tribal governments, even border governments, would have a pursue wider range of use. So this is a good news story for us in the city of Glenarden as we continue to move the mission forward and support so much of this city's natural resources, and also to build on better for the city of Glenarden. I acknowledge in the State of Glenarden address that there has been some complications in personnel and communication to you citizens, and for that, we do need to do better. I will say that as of this year, we have crafted budget work sessions, which will start June the 5th. May 25th will be the deadline for our tax rate for Prince George's County and the combined tax bill. I acknowledge that the deadline for the submission of our fiscal year 24 budget for the public hearing is going to be June the 13th. So please, citizens, your input, your presence is requested. We also acknowledge that on June the 19th, fiscal year budget adaptation, the latest date obviously will be June the 30th, because the budget has to be prepared and passed by July the 1st. There are 2 deadlines in front of us, and we're ready to accomplish the task. I acknowledge that the real property tax proposed for the city has a constant yield of 0.3273 per 100 assessed dollars assessed property value. We did recommend, Mayor did recommend that this tax year that we hold the constant yield, but I do know that there will be an evaluation on what an increase in the constant tax yield will do. We are looking at the personal property tax on businesses being increased. We have looked at reports from across this district, and as we look at the Capitol Heights at 2.5, $2.50, and we look at District Heights at $1.50, Greenbelt at $1.72 and some change, and so on and so forth. Seat Pleasant being the most at $15. For our businesses, we have proposed a slight increase, 88 cents per $100 assessed value. That brings us to $1.15 per $100 assessed value. That is still very good considering the rest of our district. So City of Glenarden is still supporting our businesses and supporting our small businesses to progress and continue to move forward in the business of serving the citizens, their needs. I acknowledge that this year we have had a really good year in the Annapolis with the different budgets and different requests that have been put forward. Requests for financial support for the police department, requests for support for stormwater management, to support our communities, and also acknowledge that detached debt 425, debt 275 for the American Legion Post 275 was also awarded in bond bills, an opportunity to make some progressive growth in the facility as well as the grounds. So we are grateful for the work that had gone forth in Annapolis to support the city and the areas of the nonprofits that do the best that we can. We do express, again, concern for the mental health and wellness of our community. It has always been, since taking office, an intentful effort to build back better and stronger here in the city of Glenarden. Mental health and wellness is May Mental Health and Wellness Month. We take that not for granted and include various opportunities to bring our families together and interact with activities and workshops and engage even our youth ages 18 to 24. One of the key pieces that I picked up in this particular year is to expound upon our youth in the arts, and also to look for opportunities and partners throughout the county who have programs in place to support our youth growing back stronger. It's really important that our youth feel the love, particularly in this time where COVID-19, for every K through 12 school-age child, place them some out of school for an interim period, and others out of school at a minimum of almost 2 years. So friends have went on to different colleges or different schools. So we have taken an account to our mental health and wellness by putting together Youth in the Arts program and actually working and encouraging that legislation forward. We are looking at our education as well as food sources and encouraging legislation to support what we had in COVID, which was free lunches and breakfasts, and also breakfast in the classroom. I'm happy to announce that in supporting that legislation, it was actually passed and returned back. So this is a good news story, because what we acknowledged is many of our school buses are still in dire need of bus drivers. So this is a plea for folks to consider. My mom was a bus driver as well as a school teacher. And I remember some of the greatest times was being able to ride her bus to school, because she left later than the bus that picked me up. But I thought that we would at this time acknowledge our school system and the school board and the amount of work that they're putting into before and after care programs, programming that teaches civility, self-defense, and also programming that teach good citizen trainings. It is so important, English as a second language as well. It's so important that we acknowledge the diversity and inclusion that we must build in our community. We are a diverse community, City of Glenarden, as well as have our hearing impaired citizens as well. So we are asking in this year that we evolve. We have gone to include English and Spanish translation, but invest in a sign language as well, because that will allow us to support to our citizens who are currently living here in the City of Glenarden. We work very hard to get the bill passed for supporting bringing home $2.1 billion in state funding as well during this 2023 Maryland General Assembly. The full list of those that are being supported, particularly in Prince George's County, is $17.5 million has been put in places like hall recoveries in Prince George's County Community College. So for those of our citizens that attend Prince George's County Community College, you will acknowledge some work being put forth in Marlboro Hall renovation. So this is good news for our college prep students that are out there at Prince George's Community College. And also for our students that are on Bowie State University, $1.5 million has been put in the new Thurgood Marshall Library Commons building. So we are all, as a county and as a city and even as a state, working hard on the mission to move the mission forward and ensure that education takes a better seat than it has had in previous years, and supporting not just our K through 12 with the breakfasts and the lunches in the classroom, but also being able to support our college-bound students. By way of economic development, citizens, many of you have been asking about what's happening to the old Landover Mall area. Well, I'll tell you that there's a lot of work going forward, again, on the borders of the City of Glenarden, to put $100 million towards that FBI headquarters if they choose to utilize gorgeous Prince George's County as its final site. We are so excited about the work that has been put forth thus far to keep the FBI on the list with the City of Glenarden as one of its border cities. That would be an amazing opportunity, new opportunities for jobs for our youth who are coming out of schools, and also for our transitional youth, because one thing I'll tell you as a DoD civilian myself, that it is awesome opportunity to work as a college work study in federal agencies and build and grow and understand a little bit more about the state of security for the country. And so it's just a wonder to serve. $20 million is going to Maryland's Next Level Sports and Entertainment Innovation Center. So I just acknowledge again, more fun coming to this county. And I do acknowledge County Executive Angela Alsobrook for the work and the vision that she's had, and has been holding really meetings with all the mayors around Prince George's County to hear from us and to appreciate what our cities could use on a grander scale. So our cities are working hard with the county and as well with the state. And it's just an honor right now to be in the service of you, citizens of Glenarden. The Prince George's County Reentry Program, you know, Mayor Cross has been putting a lot of value towards our reentry citizens. Second Chance Awareness Month, we helped and held with over 50 organizations an alert and an awareness that when we talk about diversity and inclusion in our communities, we have to be clear that our citizens who have served their time and have returned home deserve those citizen privileges that are due. And with that comes the right to vote. So we are very keen and aware that in our reentry employment initiative programs that are coming down to help employ our returning citizens, that there's over $500,000 being put towards that program. And programs like Employ Prince George's, the Denny House, and Release After Release, Life After Release. Programs like that are tremendous help with helping us build our community of returning citizens. And also the Solid Foundation, forgive me, is another fantastic organization that we have been serving, and Men in the Gap, and it goes on and on. State's Attorney Brave Boy has done a fantastic job with our Second Chance Returning Citizens. It's been an honor of mine to be on several of her programs and to support with my voice towards what we need to do to bring back citizens and give them the opportunity to build back better. So there's $100,000 in Prince George's Arts and Humanities Council film office. And in that $100,000, you'll acknowledge that on February the 4th, here in the city of Glenarden, along with my youth ambassador, Jason Boycott, we led a City of Glenarden Youth Arts and Summit, Creative Arts Summit and Conference. With that $100,000, we are excited about what Prince George's County is doing. Excuse me, allergy season. We are excited about the arts and the humanities. We are excited about film because I will acknowledge that I had the unique pleasure of supporting the World Council of Mayors and also supporting the Department of Commerce as well as the Black Chamber of Commerce as they were discussing with the nation of Africa, forgive me, over 20 opportunities to build uniquities in the arts as well as entertainment. So a memorandum of agreement, memorandum of understanding was put together. And these memorandums essentially highlight the arts as well as entertainment, fashion, areas where the U.S. would like to build partnerships with the nation of Africa. I acknowledge that even here in the Wilmore Town Center at Glenarden, we have the African Gallery, and we have other areas around Prince George's County where we see our nation of Africa, entertainment and fashion becoming a thing and rising to a level of creative ingenuity. So it's exciting to see $100,000 from Prince George's Arts and Humanities Council in the film office, because what we are looking at and was contacted about around the horn in Prince George's County, doing a record of each one of our cities. And it was such an amazing thing to see the county moving forward in capturing the beauty of our 27 municipalities. Relative to health and safe communities, it has been just a joy to watch the Regional Medical Center be built. One of the things that I would like to see as a mayor is telehealth, though, come to the city of Glenarden. What that does is that could provide upwards of 200 jobs right here, which telehealth you conduct as long as you have a laptop, which we all now have, an ability to work in the health industry, doing medical transcriptionist or other things. But $27 million has been put towards the continual construction of a new cancer center at the University of Maryland Capital Regional Medical Center in Largo. So the new cancer center is going to be something that will build back healthier communities, as we have talked about having mobile breast cancer awareness screening as well. We are very excited about this continual construction, particularly in the Regional Medical Center. The fact that it sits in Largo, again, a border town to the city of Glenarden, is a very unique and awesome opportunity for our citizens. One of the things that we would hope to see is the University of Maryland MOU with the city of Glenarden and other border cities relative to healthcare. There's also renovations if we're looking at additional floors and bed space in the MedStar Southern Maryland Hospital. And then there's also a behavioral health emergency department in Luminous Health Doctors Community Medical Center. Behavioral health is going to get a $500,000. It's a beautiful thing to see our health and safety being addressed in our communities, and every little bit helps. One of the things that we acknowledge is mental health and wellness, particularly in this month of May, is the need for counseling services in our school systems. So in this year, in the state of Glenarden, we've done very well with our mental health wellness programming. I do acknowledge that we have had a few concerns that have popped up in mental health and wellness. What we want to do is to be a ready asset to our communities. Legislation has been passed to give us additional representation in our city, and we're very excited about that. Passing legislation to establish a teacher development and retention program. For all of us parents, one of the key things and most important things that we can have happen is to have a teacher staff that's well supported. And as the mayor went and talked to the Prince George's County exec, also Brooke, and her staff about the hiring of the new CEO of schools, it was evidently clear from every parent there that a ready, talented, and on-site teaching staff is critical. There's been a lot of development in school systems as far as rebuilding school systems that were falling into a dilapidated state. So I acknowledge a shout out for all of that work. Though we are in the coming year, we'll need some support with our schools as well, particularly for the roofings and all of that to be considered. So we will be taking attention to the structure of our schools, particularly the elementary schools that we have here in the city of Glenarden. We are very proud of the legislation that was passed on the Protect and Serve relative to police accountability boards. That was a legislation that I had the honor of speaking on at the county council level, as well speaking on in Annapolis. I am very honored to see the development will incorporate those from our area as well as other areas to make it a balanced and fair board. For police accountability, one of the key things in any community is safety and security. So with that being said, we are encouraged. I will acknowledge that there's been a lot of work for our autistic members as well of this community. For the Autism Awareness Month, I was very fortunate that Blue Runway for Autism invited me to come out as a guest speaker on their program held at the FOP Lodge. One of the key things that they acknowledge is the need to identify the difference between a behavioral problem and a chemical problem or a birth problem like autism. One of the key pieces that came out of the work that Blue Runway for Autism has been doing is an identification icon, something that helps our police forces identify the difference, that tells them right up front that this is a person of autistic abilities. We have fully functioning autistic community members here in the city of Glenarden, and their safety is our priority as well. So it's always an honor to continue to support programs like Blue Runway for Autism and making sure that our community has appropriate legislation to support. It's also very important that we look at our streets. Now, we are doing a lot of work in the streets. Glenarden Parkway, as you notice, has a lot of opportunities, as well as the sidewalks. We've pulled a lot of work in putting some sidewalks, and more will be done in the coming year. And as we look at Glenarden Parkway, resurfacing and redoing that parkway is one of the top priorities. That is a main strip that carries us from the county in Largo now down to the city of Glenarden to the municipal center. So we're very excited to announce that that work will be done, as well as several roads within our cities. As the administration continues to expand, we do acknowledge that there's a lot of growth in the community communication strategy, though I do note that more can be done. We acknowledge back when we first started office, we would do the flyers and such on the door. And we've gone to more of a technologically based communication strategy. But we want to say that you have a feedback choice. Let us know how you feel about that. We've been moving in that direction now for 2 years, and it works for some, but for others it hasn't as easily been available. The expansion of broadband is also being considered, particularly in heavy drop zones throughout our wards 1 and 2 area. More discussion will be had on that. We are looking at February, building out an opportunity for us in the coming year to reevaluate our communication strategies as well. So over the next year, we will ask that citizens take time to actually give us some feedback on how well we're doing in this communication strategy. Because if you're not informed, if we're not giving you the information that you need, then ultimately it's not beneficial for us to be totally technologically online. So please give us that feedback. We've gone to a quarterly newsletter where many of the upcoming events or activities for the quarter will be posted. Again, if you haven't started to receive that newsletter, please let us know. Call 301-773-2100. Make sure your address is appropriately accounted for in that listing. The quarterly newsletter covers everything from the executive, legislative to police, public safety, public works, as well as the other areas of the administration. It is the most ready at your hand availability of upcoming projected items and also information. So please, it is important that everyone gets their hands on that newsletter for the quarter, and also please provide us feedback. We've been talking about the Code Red program for a while now, and many of our residents have signed up. If you did sign up, then you will have received, during that last huge thunderstorm we had, warnings that came to your cell phone and warnings that came to your email. That was Code Red. All citizens, please register with the Code Red program. The beauty of this program that is being paid for by the city is that it is linked in to all of the nation's top warning systems. And we'll be working in this coming year with the American Legion and with the American Legion to put together our disaster preparedness plan. We are so excited to move forward in that and make sure that as we saw this coming year, we didn't get the snow that we anticipated. We also saw that there was almost 7 feet of snow in Texas. Who would have thought? And then there was rainstorms and flooding in California. So we are looking at global warming and things that are happening in our community. And with that comes a need for predictive planning. So in this current year, you will see meetings being called for the evaluation of what needs to be in our emergency preparedness plan. With the American Legion. And we're so honored that they are helping us with their amateur radio operators who will also be helping us, who are tied into the FCC and ready, 100% ready emergency for the city of Glenarden. And we'll also be identifying safe zones or areas of retreat in the event of emergency or catastrophic disaster. COVID-19 was a pandemic. And one of the things being military that we always acknowledge is we are not in control of other nations, though we do pray that we will have sufficient enough warning. It is very important that we get this plan out for you this coming year, and that will be done. So our summer programs are in full swing. The Summer Youth Employment Program launched by Prince George's. I am hopeful that many of our citizens had an opportunity to participate. We will see that the onboarding of those youth that were selected started actually on the 1st of May, and it will go until June the 24th. And then we in the city of Glenarden will have a kickoff for June the 29th as we welcome some of our young folks who will be doing the summer work program under Prince George's County. So as far as the state of Glenarden is concerned, the city of Glenarden is moving hard and fast in the right direction. We do have a lot of growth opportunities, but we are working hard on what you need as citizens to evolve the bottom line of this great city. We have lived in a moment of troubles. We are heading towards moments of triumph, and we are grateful for all that the citizens have given us by way of feedback, and feedback is important. I acknowledged Primrose and the work that has been broken as far as ground in the new development of 159 units now to be in that area of Glenarden Hills. So for our citizens who are looking to zero-scape or downsize, please contact Ms. Carrington, the director over there, and get your name on the list for what is going to be a fantastic opportunity. For those of our citizens that are looking for senior facilities or lower income facilities, do take Glenarden Hills into consideration and stay in the city of Glenarden. It is a beautiful establishment, complete with a community center, and we are just so thrilled about the work that's happening and grateful to the Primrose family as well as the county council that has worked extremely hard to put new facilities on the ground. As I understand, there's a need to put about 30,000 new residential housing on the ground across this county, and I'm happy to say that Glenarden is sharing in that piece. We are looking at ground being broken also by St. Joseph's Church. There's a couple of hearing sessions. Please, citizens, pay attention to our news media, as well as pay attention to our newsletter, because we really want as a person of record for the development. We've had an opportunity to talk to the attorneys. The groundbreaking right there in that green clearing right there at Whitmore Town Center at Glenarden is ready and prepped for building. What we want to make sure our citizens have is an opportunity to speak on what will be there, and we will work hard to continue to stay connected as a person of record through site planning and development to ensure that what comes and what ends up being there is beneficial to our citizens on the ground. One of the key things that this mayor has been looking at is making sure that with all the development, that our citizens have the ability to keep their taxes in a manageable state. And that has been a severe concern, though we do acknowledge that with new development, those of our citizens that, like I stated, are interested in xeriscaping or becoming more in a townhome or apartment state do have the opportunities to get in early on these opportunities. So I want to thank you so much for your time this evening and being with me for this Mayoral Community Forum on the state of Glenarden. You are free to contact me at any time at CCROSS@cityofglenarden.org. That's ccross@cityofglenarden.org. And you can also pay a call to 301-773-2100. I'm Mayor Cashenna A. Cross with the State of City of Glenarden Address. You keep moving the mission forward.